Hello and welcome to another episode of my Productivity Mastery series. My name is Carl Pullein and today we are going to talk about time blocking and more specifically how I time block. Now, time blocking is becoming a thing these days apparently, and there are multiple different ways of time blocking. There is what I would describe as the micro time blocking, where you're micromanaging every minute of every day, a la Elon Musk, who actually blocks his day out in 5-minute increments. I think personally that's a bit extreme and it doesn't really give you any flexibility for dealing with emergencies which inevitably will come up every single day. And then there is the less extreme version, which is what I use, which is to identify what I describe as my core work, the work that is really important each week that needs to be done. Now, in my case, as kind of a content creator, I need to make sure I have time to write my blog post, my podcast script, and record my podcast and do these YouTube videos. I also have 2 newsletters that I do every week, which require some written essay, around about 500 words each week. Plus, I'm writing a book, or rather right now, I'm editing a book. So there's a lot of things that I need to squeeze into my week to make sure that they are moving forward. These are what I call my core work tasks. Now, the thing about time blocking and the reason why time blocking works so well is because you are allocating time for the things that need to get done. Biggest problem with to-do list managers on their own and task lists and to-do lists is they don't tell you whether you have enough time to actually do the work. It's great, a to-do list. You can dump everything you think or feel you need to do into that to-do list, but you're always going to come up against the biggest problem, the one thing you have no control over, which is time. Time is fixed. There's nothing you can do to change that. You get the same 24 hours a day that everybody else in this world has. Now, that means the only thing you can manage is your activity, what you do in those 24 hours. And this is why time blocking actually becomes really powerful, and also why time blocking actually helps you to focus in on making sure that you've got enough time to do the work that matters. Now, what I've done in my case is I've identified that I need X amount of hours per week for writing. So I block that time out in my calendar. You can see that in this screen. You can see that I have blocked out time on a Monday morning for writing. I also have time blocked out on a Tuesday morning for writing, which is the essays that I write each week. You also see in this calendar that I have time blocked out on a Friday for doing my video recording. And of course, I have all my regular appointments, which I'm not showing you right now because I don't want to reveal people's private information. But I also have a number of appointments, usually about 3 or 4 calls each day related to my coaching business. And I'm coaching 3 or 4 people every single day. They are also in this calendar. So my fixed appointments. The other thing, as you can see on this calendar, is I am also managing my exercise. Now, I don't do this on a forever basis, if you like. I don't set this as a recurring thing every single day of the year. The way I do my exercise schedule is every Saturday when I do my weekly planning, that's when I put together my exercise schedule, because my week does change like most people's weeks do change. I often have a family day on a Wednesday and my wife and I will probably go for a trip somewhere. Well, it's unlikely I'm going to be able to set aside, right, 3:30, I must do my exercise. That doesn't realistically happen in that way. So I tend to manage my exercise on a week-to-week basis because I know what my schedule is. But as you can see from my calendar, there are plenty of gaps, and that is really important because those gaps enable me to be able to deal with those emergencies that just come up each day. It also means that if my wife and I want to go shopping, and we can go shopping at any time, I have the flexibility built into my day. Now, the other thing you'll notice is, particularly on Wednesday, that I will be doing a recording session for my time sector system course. Now, this is just a simple update. I only need one day, but what I'm doing is I'm dedicating that day to being able to do my recording. I don't want to be distracted or disturbed by anything else that day. I just want to be able to focus in on doing that course. I don't want any distractions. And the way to do that is to block the day. Now you'll see I haven't blocked the entire day. I don't need to. But if I was doing a fresh course, if I was working on a project that really I was very, very close toward the end of that project and it just needed one final push, yeah, sure, I'm going to block out 2 days for doing that project. Now, the secret here is you're not realistically going to be able to do that and decide on Saturday, okay, next week I'm blocking out Tuesday and Wednesday to work on this project. It's not likely to work that way. More realistically, you need to be planning ahead for this. I put this into my calendar way back mid-December when I decided that I wasn't going to have time in December to do the update. So I actually scheduled it for this coming Wednesday, so that I now know I've got the time. I essentially had about 3 weeks before that day was going to happen. So for all the people who were trying to get me to do appointments on that particular day, it wasn't going to happen. I made sure that it was blocked on my calendar. And this is the key thing about this. The other thing you'll notice in my calendar is I have a block of time scheduled for communications. Now this is essential for me to stay on top of my email. Now, I feel quite fortunate when I hear from other people about how many emails they get per day. I get around about 80 to 90 emails a day. Not all of them require a reply or any action from me, but I would say 20, 25 emails a day do require me to act, do require me to do something. So I need time to be able to do that each day. So I have what I call my communications hour blocked out in my calendar. So I know I have time for dealing with my messages and dealing with my email. Now for me, I can fix that time. I'm very strict about my schedule. If you cannot do that, if because your meetings are random, they can be picked at any time, you can still have that block in your calendar. You just need to move it around as and when to fit your schedule. But the thing about time is we can't change it. We do get those 24 hours a day and that's it. What we can do though is decide what needs to happen each day and each week in order for us to move projects and goals forward, and then allocate the time in our calendar. Now, in my case, I try very hard to keep it all fixed. And if you can do that, that makes life so much easier because, for example, when I wake up on a Monday morning, I know after my early morning calls, I am straight into my writing session. I don't even have to think about it anymore. It's Monday morning, it's writing day. Same with Friday. Wake up Friday morning, I know I'm recording my YouTube videos. That's why I like to have it fixed. I don't have to make decisions now because those decisions have been set in stone. You may not have that luxury. You may not be able to do that, but you can still create these blocks and you can move them around each week to fit your current schedule. If your schedule moves around a lot, then make sure. Now, I've worked with quite a few sales executives, and one of the things we've done there is with sales, particularly if you're traveling around in terms of sales and you have regular meetings, one of the things you do need time for is to keep on top of your admin. Companies are measuring your activity. They're measuring all sorts of things. You may have Salesforce documents to update and so on and so forth. If you need time for doing that, then you need to make sure you have time in your calendar blocked out. Now, you might not be able to do it the same time every day, but what I do recommend is if, for example, Monday morning is quiet, you don't have many calls, block an hour or two out for admin on a Monday morning. If likewise on a Friday afternoon, you've got a quieter time in terms of dealing with your clients and prospects, then block out a couple of hours on a Friday afternoon for dealing with those admin tasks. Because if you're not staying on top of them, it will just explode in your face and you'll end up having to spend a day or two at the end of every month trying to manage that time. A little bit each week means that you don't have to spend as much time each week doing it, and you can focus more on doing the job you're employed to do, which is to sell. So this is the key to time blocking. Is first of all, you need to establish what are the essentials that must happen each week. What must you get done each week? Then make sure that you have enough time blocks for that, and then set them up in your calendar. Now, as I say, if you're like me, you can fix it. If not, and your week needs to remain a bit more flexible, then still have those blocks, but just move them around each week when you do the weekly planning session. But as I come to a close of this video, the one thing I'm going to tell you about time blocking is it removes a lot of stress and overwhelm, because you know that as long as you are respecting your calendar and what goes on your calendar gets done, your calendar is sacred territory. You know that you have the time to do whatever needs to happen each week. There's no more excuses of, I don't have time, there's not enough time. You have already allocated the time in your calendar. If you don't have time, it is completely your fault, because you are not respecting your calendar. You're not treating it as sacred territory. You're ignoring it. You cannot ignore your calendar if you want time blocking to work. So there you go. I wanted just to give you how I do time blocking. I know there are multiple different ways of doing time blocking out there. I don't believe that the extreme Elon Musk style time blocking is effective. I think because for most of us, we have to deal with emergencies. They are an inevitable part of life. You need the flexibility to deal with that. But as long as you've got flexibility built in and you know what you must do each week, then time blocking is an incredibly effective way of managing your time and being more productive. Well, I hope you found this video useful. Thank you so much for watching it. It just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week. Hello, thank you very much for watching my videos. Now I have something exciting to tell you about. Recently I have developed a brand new time management system. It's a system designed to manage your time in the 21st century. The world has changed a lot over the last 20 years. In fact, it's actually changed a lot this year. And what we need now is a system, a time management system that is very easy to use, easy to maintain, so that you can spend more of your time doing the work. And that's what the time sector system is all about. It's going to change your whole belief system about the way a time management system should work, because this focuses on when you are going to do the task. And let's be honest, it doesn't matter how motivated, inspired, or how urgent something is. If you don't have time to do it, it is never going to get done. And that's what this system is built around, getting your work done, so you can spend more of your time doing the things that you want to do. I hope you join me in this course. The full details of the course are in the show notes below, so please join me, and thank you very much for watching this brief video.